please welcome, of course, Steve Burns. You're right there. I got a microphone and everything. You can do better than that.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming out.
It's great to have you.
It's great to be here.
Nice. First time in Pittsburgh?
No, I've been to Pittsburgh many times. Not in a minute, but I do like this town. Is almost everybody here from Pittsburgh? The Pittsburghies?
A little bit.
Right on, right on, right on.
So, do you mind if I got a couple questions for you before we go to the audience?
What's your name, man?
My name's Mike.
Steve. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Really well. Really well.
All right. Ask away.
Okay, what was the audition process like for Blue's Clues, and how prepared were you for it?
Not prepared at all. And there was like one of my first auditions when I first moved to New York, and I had moved to New York City. I was like 21 years old. I was just like a little kid, you know, and I was getting a lot of attention, or some attention, for being like a very serious, intense actor. Like I was like a Dustin Hoffman-y, Al Pacino-y, pretentious, very serious actor. And I got an audition for this, what I thought was a cartoon, right? And I thought it was to be the voice of a cartoon. And I didn't know that it was to be on the show. And so I went to the audition, and there was a camera in the room. And I was like, oh, I better do stuff. And it was written like a game show, right? Kind of like which one is the triangle? Oh, you guessed it. Good job. But I was like, oh, no way. I'm going to act the hell out of this, you know? So I made it this like really intensely personal thing. Like, it's funny. Like if the camera was here and I'm at the audition, and if this was too close to the camera, I was like here. And I was like, which one is the triangle? Do you know? Like I was like way up in the lens, and made it just like this really like intense thing. And I remember looking at Angela Santamero, who created Blue's Clues. She was in the room, and she was like, oh. And then eventually I got what they call a callback, right? They were like, we liked what you did, but it was weird. And do you own a clean shirt? And so I thought it was cool, though. I was like, I don't know if I would have gone to that audition if I had known that it was to be on a children's television show, because I would have thought, I can't do that. You know, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a child development specialist. I'm not Mr. Rogers. I'm just an actor. You know, I don't know if I would have gone. But when I remember at the audition thinking, I like that part. Like, I like the thing where I talk to the camera. I get that. I know what to do there. I remember thinking that, you know. And so they called me back, and I learned later that the people who wrote and created Blue's Clues were sold on me. They were like, the weird guy. We want the weird guy. But Nickelodeon was like, we don't like the weird guy. They wanted someone conventionally handsome. I was like, what? Oh, you know, they wanted like a heartthrobby boy next door kind of thing, which kind of makes sense, I guess. But so it was down to me and just a couple other people for the gig. And what they did was they recorded me, and then they recorded us all, and they showed the tapes to children. And you know, when like Heartthrob Guy did it, he was like, hey, which one's the triangle? Oh, thanks. Right? Kids were like, that one. It's over there. But when they showed them my tape, and I was like, will you help me? Kids were like, yes, we have to help this guy. Like, he needs me, you know? And they were like jumping around the room. They were like touching the screen and like climbing over each other. So I don't know how old everyone in the room is, but if you grew up on Blue's Clues, you got me the job. So thank you.
And I just want to skip ahead. Are you working
Yes.
on any new music projects currently?
Not like I used to. I used to write a lot more music than I do now. I still play every day, and I'm still very musical. But I haven't been writing songs. I'm working on a preschool children's television show that's about music. It's all music. I'm excited about that. So music is still a big part of what I do, but I wouldn't consider myself a musician in any way. You know, I know some very good musicians, but I'm not one of them.
Well, you guys got some questions? Let's make it happen. Starting right down here.
Wonderful to have you with us,
I
Steve.
just met you 4 minutes ago.
Yes, you did.
How have
sure
you been?
Did. You sure did. Well, Merry Christmas, Steve.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for being a part of Blue's Clues. It was a huge part of my childhood growing up.
Thank you for being a part of my 20s.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. So my biggest question for you is, what were your favorite moments and episodes to do for Blue's Clues, along with working with guest stars on the show like Marley Matlin as the librarian?
Well, that's certainly one of them. Marley Matlin was so cool. Just so cool. And funny and irreverent and awesome. It was so great. If it were up to me, she'd have been the co-host of that show. That was a highlight for sure. But in terms of favorite episodes, I can't say that I really have one. You know, I mean, I have favorite moments from the show. I definitely liked it whenever I got to go to outer space. That was good. I liked the sock puppet. Oh my God, guys, don't look, but there's an Imperial Stormtrooper back there. Bum, 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 bum. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. We're cool. We're cool. He totally stalked by the door. Like, these are not the droids. They're not here. Anyway, there he is. See, I'm not wrong. That's scary. That's menacing. I liked it anytime I got to play with the sock puppet was good. But my real favorite moments of Blue's Clues are recent. Getting to hang out. The guy, Donovan Patton, the guy who plays Joe, who replaced me, he and I are really good friends. And I adore that dude. And anytime I get to do anything with him, it's awesome. And anytime the two of us get to do stuff with the new guy, it's even more awesome. That's such a joy for me, is being involved still with the show, because I don't have any responsibilities. I get to just show up and be like, I'm just going to goof off. This is my house. You know what I mean? Y'all are just living in it, but my dog, my house, y'all have fun. I'm going to eat a cookie in the chair, you know? So my real favorite moments really are recent.
Right down here.
Hi, yes. I'm a much older fan. I started watching Blue's Clues when I was grown. Mm-hmm. But I do want to say thank you. I'm not much of a question as much as a statement I got to you. Mm-hmm. Just recently, I'd say maybe last year or so, you did a video that you can find like on TikTok and everywhere else.
Yeah, last summer.
When you addressed the fans.
Yeah.
And I'm safe to say, as a grown adult, that made me emotional. And I want to just say thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. It made me emotional, too. So I'm glad. I'm glad that we were able to still have a conversation in some way, you know. So it was as much for me as it was for you. So thank you, too.
And right next to him.
I got a question. What was it like working with your fellas?
With who?
With your fellas, your best friends.
Oh, with who?
Your best friends.
You mean
with your best friends?
Oh, the guy who plays Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we weren't best friends until we started working together, and then we were like. I was known I was very professional, right? I was never late ever, and I knew my lines, and I was super, almost obsessively professional until I met Joe. And then everything fell apart, and we were terrible. It was awful, but it was so much fun. So it was fun, it's really fun. And part of it is that there's only a couple people there's only 3 guys in the world who understand what it is to do that job, and so we share something cool. So, yeah.
Question right down here.
I was going to say, you better get to the other side of the room here. They've all been through this little tiny part here.
I love Blues Clues, but when I was in college, one of my friends told me about an album called Songs for Dust Mites.
Yeah.
And so when I knew I was going to see you, I went into the storage room and I found my CD. I forgot to bring it. I'll bring it tomorrow for you to sign. But I was reading it and I was thinking about, this was an era of, liner notes and, stories and pictures. So I was curious about what you remember about the process of making, the album cover and all the stuff in the album outside of the music.
Well, I had never intended to make an album. I was just writing music in my bedroom, and I knew a guy who knew a guy who knew the guys who produced my favorite band, and so I sent them that CD of just some songs I wrote, and he was like, "These don't suck." I thought they would, and he said, "Do you want to work on them?" So I went to go work on them with that producer, and then my favorite band was there, the band called the Flaming Lips. They're really good friends of mine. And I met them, and we became buddies. And then, so we made a record. They were like, "Hey, we've got 2 weeks. You want to make a record?" And I was like, "Yes." So everything happened really, really fast. So I remember having to make that album art. My friends and I made that album art on a clamshell Macintosh, and we did it in one night. We stayed up all night and did that. So it was as down and dirty and cheap as it gets.
There's a question way on that side of the room.
We've got one over here.
Oh, hey.
No, he doesn't.
What's your name, by the way? I'm sorry, I should be asking everybody.
Her name is
Yeah.
Sydney.
Oh, the name of the dog? The dog has a
Dog is
question?
Sydney, yes.
Oh, I see.
Nobody remembers my name. Nobody knows my name.
No, what is your
Does
name?
anybody really remember when there's a dog? Does anybody really remember the name
Yes,
of the ogre?
yes, I am living proof.
Fair. Touche. Mic drop. So, as I'm sure you're well aware, when you kind of disappeared when you left Blue's Clues and you disappeared off of the planet, there seems to be a lot of rumors that swirled around your disappearance. And I think the most interesting one I heard involved you having a whaling accident off the coast of Nova Scotia.
No. See, there were so many rumors that I died, and honestly, it's only a little funny to me. Sometimes it's not even funny. It was weird. That was weird. That was a weird thing to hold, to think that you did all this stuff, and then everyone, no matter what you do, everyone thinks that you died. It was really kind of a dark thing. But no matter what I did, I couldn't get rid of the rumors. So I started to start my own. And one of them was, I told everyone for 2 years, I was like, "No, man, that guy died in a whaling accident in Nova Scotia." Basically, and then I would complete it. I'd flesh it out. It was just the story of Moby Dick.
All right, we've got a real good one for you
Far
here.
side of
Why
the
don't
room.
you stand up?
There you go. Careful.
Hi, Quinn.
Question is, what is
This
your
is my friend
favorite
Quinn.
song
No,
you
did
made?
Did I get your name wrong?
No.
Okay, yes, it is Quinn. Hi, I got my glasses on.
What is your favorite song you made?
Ever? I wrote a song for my sister, and it's called More Than One, because we're kind of like the same person, but we're not. We're really close in age. And that was a very sweet little song, and I really enjoyed writing that one. Probably the song I wrote for my sister, which is on that record that guy has, and nobody else has, except my mom and you. And I like that song called Mighty Little Man, because that's the theme song, by the way, for the spin-off of The Big Bang Theory called Young Sheldon. Yeah, I wrote the theme song to that.
And let's go to this side of the room over here. Got a question right here.
Hi, Steve. Merry
Hi.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
As a mom of a child who absolutely loved Blue's Clues and Steve, and always said, "Here's the mail," when the mail came and started wagging his tail, I just have to say thank you, because you piqued a curiosity in him and probably all the generation that watched you and interacting, and it was just wonderful to see the excitement that he had for learning and education, because you made it a part of his life by getting close to that TV camera and pulling him in and all the other kids of that generation in. But my question is, how you were working with a cartoon, so how did you know where Blue was going to be, and Salt and Pepper and Magenta and all the little characters that you were supposed to be interacting with? How did you know where they were to be able to make that interaction happen?
Well, first of all, thank you for the first stuff you said. I can't take all the credit for that, and I won't take all the credit for that. That is, Blue's Clues is a brilliantly conceived educational delivery system. That's what it was. It was first and foremost an educational television show. I was an educator. I was an actor who was in the role of an educator. My job was to facilitate that brilliant curriculum. And the reason it was so engaging had somewhat to do with what I was doing, but there was also a lot of very brilliant people that are most of it, you know. And in terms of I shot Blue's Clues on a blue screen. You guys are all familiar with green screen stuff. I couldn't use a green screen because my shirt was green. I would have disappeared. So I was on a blue screen, and there was nothing there. It was just me. It was kind of like being in the bottom of a swimming pool, right? Just imagine there's literally nothing. And it was rounded corners, so you couldn't even see the corners of the room. It just felt like a blue void. And in a way, it was kind of peaceful. You know, it was just this big blue color and then lights in front of me, just lights. And you couldn't even see the director. It was just lights. It looked like something like if you were in heaven or something. It was like this big blue void and then just blinding lights. And the only thing I could see every day was the camera. So Blue's Clues felt to me like a very tiny thing. It felt like this very small, little personal relationship. It was just this very personal conversation I was having with that camera and nothing else, and literally in a void. And seeing the characters was really hard. At first, we didn't really have like TV directors. We just had animators who would sit on set and they would look at what I was doing and they would say, "Hey, Steve, can you move your y-axis 14 degrees? And then can you," and I'm like, "Dude, no. I can't, I don't even know what you're saying," you know? And I would run up to the camera and I'd be like, "Hey," and if I was here, it was right, and if I was here, it was wrong. You know, and I was like, this is insanely hard. And it took us forever. For the first season was brutal for all of us, not just for me. But then eventually we just became really ninja about it. We just got super good. And what's interesting is if this is Mr. Salt, right? And you're like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Salt." And he's like, "Hello, Steve. I'm going to do things and I'm going to go over here and get an orange and blah, 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 blah." What you would never do is this. Right? And if I did that on Blue's Clues, if I went, "Hi, Mr. Salt, how are you?" Blah, 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 blah. It would look really fake. So you have to be like, "Oh, hey, it's Mr. Salt, blah, blah, blah. How you doing, man? Blah, blah, blah. Hey." And you pick 3 points. Right? Stuff like that is like, it sounds simple, but it's so hard. My least favorite character for that reason on Blue's Clues was Slippery Soap. I was like, "Oh God, no scenes with the soap." Because he'd be like, "Whoa, whoa," and I'd have to know where that was in my mind while I'm asking you questions. I'd have to have that memorized where he's going to be in space, and it was just too hard. It was too hard. That's why there really wasn't much of that character in the show.
How long would it take to do an episode? How long would you have to?
Season 1, like our first season, took us like 4 or 5 days to do an episode of like 12-hour days. And that's just my part, and then it would be animated for months, right? By the time I left, I could do a show in a day, easy. You know, we got so weird good at that show. But you would like anything, like you would, you know. Practice makes perfect.
I think on the far side we have another question.
We got one over here.
Hey, what's your name?
Madison.
Hi, Madison. I'm Steve. It's nice to meet you.
So I wanted to know what was your favorite part about filming Blue's Clues, and then did you ever think it would get as big as it did?
My favorite part about Blue's Clues was talking to the camera, was creating that interaction with the home viewer. That is still my favorite part of Blue's Clues, and absolutely not did I think. I didn't think it was going to work. I was like, man, this show is cool, but it is deeply weird. And people are not going to talk to the TV. Like, that's not going to happen. You know, I hoped that it would. I was like, this is cool. This is like the Rocky Horror Children show. You know? And I was like, I hope this works, but I didn't for a second think that it would not only work, but sort of change children's television. You know, I didn't think so. I'm glad that it's amazing that it's still around and everything, but the answer is no, I did not think so.
Was there a whole set of camera people there, or was there like steady camera people there?
No, we had one camera. Blue's Clues was very interesting. Blue's Clues, by the way, is an homage to Fred Rogers, right? It's not just influenced by, we are worshiping that show. It is an homage to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And one thing that he did brilliant. God, I love talking about Fred Rogers in Pittsburgh. Oh, hey, Fred. One of everything that he did was perfect, but the one thing that he understood was that very young children are disoriented by film language, by camera movement, by the way that things cut from perspective to perspective. So that's why the camera was always very still in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And when he would go to the kitchen, the camera would literally follow him through that wall. You know what I mean? He never cut. And that's why I went like this, like a crazy person, and just walked in place and everything went behind me, because we wanted to cut as little as possible. Wait, where was I going with that? Oh, were there multiple cameras? So no. So there was one camera, and we never moved it. It was on a tripod. We would focus it and walk away from it. You know, it was as simple as possible. And there's a lot of weird, awkward stuff about Blue's Clues that was done very intentionally for the audience, for that specific audience, that as an adult you watch it, it's like, that's really clunky and weird. But it was actually done really intentionally, really mindfully, and made it very sticky to a 4-year-old's mind.
So, like, was there somebody behind the camera that was always different, or you ever have like somebody actually working the camera behind the camera? You're playing to that person.
No. I maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. You mean like an acting partner?
No, just kind of like, was it always the same person back there?
We have 3 or 4 different directors of photography, but they weren't really people that I could see. You know, in the first season, remember how I said, this is wrong and this is right? I'd have to do it again if I was wrong, right? In the first season, we had a wonderful camera guy named Skip. And the rule was the camera can never move, but he felt bad for me because I was doing 35 takes because this was wrong and this was right. So he would unlock the camera, and when I come close to it, he would like make it right and be like, maybe. But for the most part, no.
Let's get some more questions right here.
Hi again.
Hey.
So with the generations that have spread out, even with future ones coming along, how does it feel to see all these people of all these ages commune around this show that has become a timeless children's classic?
Tell me your name again.
Baxter.
Baxter. Hey, man. How you been?
Good.
It's been 20 minutes since I've met all of you. Great. That's the weirdest part of it, you know. And if you want the real answer, it's difficult for me to internalize that. You know, when I think of what we call an evergreen children's television show, you think of the ones that have been around forever and that have been meaningful to multiple generations. And when I think of that, I think of Sesame Street. And I think of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Reading Rainbow. I think of these these kind of children's television shows approach the sacred. You know what I mean? Like they really are like, they're different. You know, they occupy a different space in culture. And to think that Blue's Clues is one of those, I honestly can't get my arms around that idea. I really can't. But
What was your reaction to first seeing yourself do this, like a finished product?
I was really upset. I was like, why do I look like that? I don't have to look like that. Can I look cool? I like, look at my hair. Oh my gosh, this is, you know. But I was really upset. I was like, oh, this is too weird. But then after about the 5th episode, I was like, this is weird in a cool way. Like, this is deeply weird in an awesome way. I just kind of got into it, you know.
Question way back off to the end. Getting that part of the
Hi.
audience.
So this might be a dumb question.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Oh, Alina.
Hi, Alina.
This may be a dumb question, but did you know that Blue was a girl when you were filming
Yes.
the show? You did?
Yes.
There you go. Duly noted. You had another question back there, I believe? I saw another set of hands back there. Yes, right back there.
I'm Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
What was your favorite moment of young Sheldon and Blue's Clues?
My favorite part of Blue's Clues, like I said before, I don't have a favorite part. I have a lot of favorite parts. Like being in outer space was a favorite part, and my favorite part of Young Sheldon was when I just filmed because I got to do a scene with Missy, and she's my favorite actress on that show. She's hilarious and awesome.
Okay, got 2 questions, one right down the middle.
Hi.
What's your name, man?
My name's Brian.
Brian, I like your hair.
Thank you. Me too. So during the height of your Blue's Clues fame, what was your weirdest celebrity recognition story where somebody recognized you that you didn't think they should have or would have?
You mean by other celebrities?
Either.
There was a lot of cool ones. I remember once the Rugrats did a movie. This one was painful. The Rugrats did a movie, and they did like a Nickelodeon red carpet thing, and I had to go to it. And I was like sitting on a red carpet, and Jodie Foster came up to me. I was like, oh my God, that's Jodie Foster. She was in Taxi Driver. This is amazing. And she's like, hey, Steve, I really like what you do. And I'm like, thank you, Jodie Foster. I love everything you've ever done. And she's like waving to the cameras. She's like, yeah, I always thought if I wasn't an actor, I would do what you do. And I was like, it's a true story. It still hurts.
Okay, we've got one back here. Stand up.
Hi, my name is Sadie.
Hi.
So I have a question. When you would go out in public, did kids bombard you and be like, "This is Steve from Blue's Clues"?
Nope. The age group, that age group, 3 to 5 year olds, is essentially our appeal was much greater, much broader than we had anticipated. But the show was largely for 3 to 5 year olds, and that's a very, very. There's some child development specialists in the audience. I met some pre-K people around here, but that's a very literal age group. And without the striped shirt, and without that environment, I would get into arguments with 3-year-olds. I'd be like, yeah, no, really, and they'd be like, uh-huh. I'd be like, no, why would I lie about that? I really am. But if literally anyone had the green striped shirt on, that person would be bombarded as Steve. You see what I mean? If that makes sense. So.
Did they have you do any personal appearances?
They tried. I did of course. And I did a lot of stuff. We did a lot of stuff for charity and for children's organizations. and stuff like that. But again, the personal appearances were always difficult with Blue's Clues because they really, to take Steve out of that environment is a little dissatisfying for the 3-year-old who's immediately like, where is the dog? You know, can you jump into this book for me? You know, so it was, it was always a tricky way to do that.
Got time for a couple more questions?
We've got one right here.
Hi, my name's Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
First, I just wanted to start by saying thank you for for everything that you did with Blue's Clues. I think that few children's shows did what you guys were able to do, and it was just really special getting to grow up with that. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And then my question was, when you were first approached with the idea of making the Blue's Clues movie with both of the other Blue's Clues actors, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, I mean, I was down, it was really just a question of time. How much time would it be? Was I able to do it? And I mean, the real was just like, I'm only doing it if Joe does it, And so I called him, like, you going to do it? And he's like, I'll do it if you do it. I was like, okay, I'll do it if you do it. And because we just wanted to make sure the movie was about Josh. And it is. And he is awesome in it. But that is about as much fun as I've ever had on anything related to Blue's Clues. That was so much fun. So.
And this shirt, you have to come out.
Yeah. Hey, man, you look great. Looking great, my man.
There you go.
Well done.
Fire away.
You wear it well.
Was there ever a moment that you get from fans all the time and you're like, why this moment from the show?
Say that again?
Is there ever a moment that surprises you fans really enjoy from the show?
I'm always surprised no one knew she was a girl. We gendered that dog from day one. I was like, look what she just did. Have you seen my puppy Blue? Where is she? It was from day one that we were constantly saying that. And everyone's like, what do you mean she was a girl? I had no idea. So that always surprises me.
Question in the back, right there.
Hi, Steve. I'm Dominique. Thank you for everything you did. I'm
Yes.
probably yet another person that's thanking you, but I
Thank
grew up
you,
on Blue's
thank
Clues,
you.
so thank you for that. Was there ever a moment where you were keenly aware of the space you occupy in pop culture and the importance that you now hold, given your role you had in people's childhoods?
Probably not. I probably don't see it the way you see it, and I probably don't get it the way you get it. But not to bring everybody down, but for a long time I thought all of you thought I was dead. I really thought that, and then when the video went viral, that was wonderful for me because it was like, oh my God, everyone knows I'm alive and they're happy about it, So I probably don't see it the way you see it, but I don't know if I could comprehend that, but every now and then I'm like, holy crap, I'm Grover. I'm like, oh my God, I'm one of those things that I loved, but it's hard to get your arms around it, I guess, is the answer.
We got one more question. You're going to be headed back to your booth. Have you got a photo op today, or is that tomorrow?
Oh, I think maybe, I don't know. Where's Zach? I don't know. I think I might be done for today. I'm definitely back tomorrow.
Okay. Well, if you get back to your booth, he'll be there. He'll be here. You're here all weekend, right?
Yeah, I think
awesome. All right. Last question.
So was there a moment in your career that made you stop doing Blue's Clues to move forward? Was there a moment in your life where you were like, I really want to do something else, and then that's when you left Blue's Clues?
I left Blue's Clues for a lot of reasons. None of them are super dramatic. First of all, I was doing it for a long time. And the real main reason isn't a terribly fascinating story. I was just getting old. And that character has to have this sort of boyish quality, And I was losing my hair. and it was becoming difficult to do the role in a way that met my standards for what it should be, and it wasn't like, I'm out of here, and it wasn't like, oh, I can't bear to find another clue. It wasn't like that at all. It was just like, I think, and when I would talk to them about it, be like, you think this is the last season? They'd be like, man, you should stick around. I was like, and like, we just decided like maybe we should look for another guy, and I stuck around and I helped find him, and I was always involved. So to me, it didn't seem so much like I left as much as I just wasn't on it anymore, if that makes sense.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Everybody.
Steve Burns, everybody. You know what to do.
Thank you so
Blues
much,
Clues
guys, for coming out. I really appreciate it. And have a wonderful Comic-Con, everybody.
Give it up, Steve Burns.
Hi, this is Aaron Ashmore, and you are watching Phantom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe like now. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.